About a week and a half away from the trade deadline, rumors about players being dealt are flying. Some teams have already made some big-time moves. One of the biggest names in trade rumor talk happens to be one of the best American-born players in the game's history and three-time Cup winner with the Chicago Blackhawks, Patrick Kane. Kane is in the final year of his contract that has a $10.5 million cap hit, but if the Hawks are willing to retain some salary, there are some teams that have interest in the 34-year-old winger. Kane was vocal about potentially wanting to go to the New York Rangers, but it's not very likely anymore after they went out and traded for Vladimir Tarasenko of the St. Louis Blues, another talented right winger. Another team that was rumored to potentially be in on Kane was the Toronto Maple Leafs. But this weekend they made a trade for Ryan O'Reilly, another former Blue, who's also a proven playoff performer. Yesterday, the Blackhawks faced off against O'Reilly and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Patrick Kane would go out and make a statement, scoring a hat-trick and adding an assist for a 4-point night, putting together a vintage performance and showing the hockey world he still has a lot more to give. Kane also scored 2 goals in the previous game versus Ottawa and is clearly starting to heat up, which is why I believe he does want to be dealt to a contender. I also think he's feeling a little bit disrespected by a lot of the people in the media, as well as by fans around the league. Yes, he's having his worst offensive season, currently with 41 points in 52 games, but he's also on one of the worst teams in the league. They traded away most of their roster over the last year and a half, and is clearly in full tank mode. He also had 92 points last season, which was first on Chicago and 15th league-wide, and his 66 assists were also 7th in the league. Kane also happens to be 6th among all active players in playoff points with 132 in 136 games, and has put together some of the most clutch performances in playoff history. This guy might not be the same player he was in his prime, but he still has a ton to give offensively, and would be a really nice add for any contending team. Some of the teams that have apparently shown interest in acquiring Kane, according to Elliot Friedman, include the Edmonton Oilers and Dallas Stars. He also believes Vegas is likely in the mix. Ultimately, if Kane is moved at or before the deadline, he will pretty much decide where he goes because of the no movement clause in his contract. Personally, I would love to see him traded and back in playoff action because when he's on his game, he is electric and puts on a show showing off his world-class skill. Let me know, will Kane be traded or will he decide to stay in Chicago for the rest of the season? Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.